Have you looked at OpenAI's Assistant API? It has something in there that you may not notice at first glance. And only as I dug into it and I went through it more and more did I find it. And it seems weird. I don't know exactly if it's helpful or if it's even intended. But we're gonna dig into it today and kind of show what it could do for you. We're gonna see if it can act weird or if it can be helpful. We kind of show how assistants work in this video, and you can check it out right here, where we go through and just build how the process works. But I'm just gonna, for a high level, we'll go through that at the beginning of this video. And just to introduce myself, I'm Jordan Hansen, hardcore into data, software, AI, building these tools, and really it's underpinning our business in Cobalt Intelligence, which helps alternative funders automate their underwriting process. Let's get to this. This is the API reference at OpenAI. It's still laggy. I don't know why. I don't know if something's wrong or if it's usage is what it is. But if you switch tabs even and go to a new one, like if this is the assistant, so we go over here, look, see how long it's taking for it to load? It's trying to switch right now. Come on, there we go. See it went back over here. So I don't know why, but it definitely is laggy. So how assistants work is there's an assistant, and again, we talked about all that in that video that I referenced earlier, but there's a thread that you create. So you create the assistant first, right? And the assistant, the idea behind the assistant is it's someone, or not someone, but it's a GPT really that you can talk to via API, and they have a specific purpose. So their goal is to be able to assist you. So you give them specific instructions that say, hey, you're an underwriter, and you're a professional underwriter, and you're fantastic at this, and you're gonna look at, you just give it your instructions, look at the knowledge base, look at over this information that can give you feedback. And so that's what an assistant is supposed to do. And so we come over here and we can build out this assistant, and we can do it in the UI, but that's what we're gonna do. You can also do it via API. Then you're gonna have a thread, which you're gonna create, which is really the context of your conversation. So if you're thinking about this in terms of ChatGPT, it's just like your conversation. So then the AI has access to all the context. It can understand what's going on, and you can go back and forth. It'll reply in the message and you reply back. And then you can access all these messages. So you can ask back and forth. Then you have the message, like I said, so you just create a message on there, you put it in there. Then what you do is once you add that message to the thread, then you create a run. And the run is what starts the execution, where the AI, the assistant that you created will look over the context of everything and then address it and say, hey, take this further action, or just give you an answer back. And this is where it gets interesting, because we come over here and we look at this run, and there's this weird thing that's required. There's an assistant ID in the run. Now, let's take a step back and think about this. The thread is the context of the conversation. So it's like you're having a conversation with someone. So let's say I build my assistant. His name's Fernando. Now, Fernando is a good friend of mine. I'm talking to him, and let's say he's a professional underwriter, or let's say he's a good guy. Let's say he's a superhero and he's going to give me advice on what to do with certain things. So I have this thread I started with Fernando, and I'm talking back and forth. The run executes that thread with Fernando. So not the thread. That's the weird part. The thread is not tied to Fernando. The run is, which means that all of this context going back and forth with different discussions could be in Fernando's tone. And then let's say in the next run, I decide to give it a different assistant, Fernanda, the girl version of Fernando, except for she's evil. She's a super villain. And that's kind of what I want to test today and see what happens. So let's try it. I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna go to this assistant, and let's create Fernando. You are a superhero. You advise people to do what is right for justice and honor. Your goal is to help protect the public and advise any users to do so also. And we're gonna have this one, and you can even use different models, which is also strange, but anyway, we'll create this one right here. I think this is all we need for this. That's Fernando. And now we're gonna create another one. We need to remember this, guys. We'll go over our code and I'll keep a copy of this. So we'll say const Fernando equals, let me zoom in a little bit on that, huh? I don't think we need this over here. So we got Fernando right there. And then we're gonna make Fernanda, you are a super villain. You advise people to do what is wrong. You especially don't like the other assistant, Fernando, who is a superhero and your arch enemy. Okay, super villain. All right, there we go. Fernanda is now created as well. Let's get her right there. Fernanda, const Fernanda, right there. These have the same ID, so I have something wrong here. That one right there. Wait, did I update this? What? Well, I didn't create a new one. Dang it. Okay, well, that's Fernanda from now on. I'm gonna create a new one.
A few moments later.
So now we got Fernando here and Fernanda. Here we go. That's Fernando, Fernanda. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna have our questions here, and we're gonna kind of keep track of the thread. Thread ID, it'll equal this something right here. Eventually we'll get there. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna say, okay, const thread equals await OpenAI beta assistance thread right think I go thread dot thread. Yeah, assistants. Oh wait, I don't go there. I got threads dot create. I'll go like this. And our body, I think we go. Let's see here. I go messages. Yeah, messages. That's what I want. So I start with a message. It's gonna be role. It's gonna be user. And I'm gonna say what else do I have? Message. I can't remember. What else do I put in there? Come on, baby. I forgot. It's gonna be in here, and it's gonna be messages. Yep, content. That's what I want. Content. Hello. I'm trying whether to enter the field of criminal justice here. Okay, so I have this guy. Can you help me? Can you give me pros and cons? All right, we got our thread we created. I'm gonna say console.log thread information right there, and I'm gonna say npm run assistance, and we're gonna come through and see how this shows up. Come on, baby. Okay, so now we have our thread ID, and now what we're gonna do is create runs. So I'm gonna say const run. So now we don't need this anymore. I don't think. I'm gonna leave that just commented out for now. Const run equals await OpenAI.beta.runs.create. Isn't it runs? Okay, so it's threads.runs here. Create. And I go thread ID, which is thread ID. And then here, this is the weird part, I put the assistant ID. So I'm gonna say, okay, I want this first to be Fernanda. And then I'm going to say run ID equals, and I'm gonna use some of this I've done before, which is where I have this index. I want this loop here. That's too much. I don't want that much. I want the smaller one. So I've gone through this before about how to properly handle this. So I'm just gonna go like this. And maybe I should put that in its own thing at some point, like this. So let's run it like that. And I'm gonna say let, and then it's gonna loop through, and then it's gonna get the message, and when it's complete, it's gonna map it out and show us what happens. So I'm gonna run that guy. Got my run, got my thread, yeah, like that. So we still have our thread ID, so now we're gonna go through it. It's gonna take a little bit, and while I'm doing this, I'm gonna build, we're gonna see what Fernando says first, I guess. It's gonna go through here. You're super, yep, I'm logging out the messages, and eventually we'll get it back. Is this messages right here? That's our run. I'm logging out the run, I'm logging out the run. Fernando, what do you got for me? All right, you see it's back. Okay, greetings, seeker of justice. The path of criminal justice is a noble endeavor where the orders of righteousness and combat the suspectors of crime and lawlessness. Okay, this is great. Okay, so we got our response back from Fernando, and we have all this information. So I'm gonna run it again, and this time I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna say const, I think I go await open AI beta.threads, there we go, dot messages, yeah, like that, and I go, no, it's just one, like that. And then I come over here, and I'm gonna get rid of this guy, and I'm gonna say, but this time I'm gonna say Fernanda. Do you think it is too goody two shoes? Is it too goody two shoes to be in criminal justice? So we're gonna ask it, what do you think about this? And then we're gonna have it send the run, and we're gonna run it with Fernanda, and we're gonna see how this shows up. I kinda wanna see what these look like so far. What did all this look like? It just showed the last response. So this is the one, and that's what we're having here. We're logging at the last response, content 0. I'm kinda curious how they're gonna interact here. Are they gonna talk back and forth, or what's gonna happen? Are they going to be aware even that there's a different assistant on the whole? Because they should get the whole context of the entire thread as it goes back and forth. So Fernanda right now should be able to review the entire context because, again, the thread is not tied to a specific assistant. It's just the run itself. Now, it could be cool to do that. See, this could be really confusing. You can see here, this is the first response. Right here, we have greeting, seeker of justice. It goes back and forth. The game of law is like a monotonous dance, predictable and constrained by the rules that bind your creativity and stuff. This is great, considering instead the exhilaration of chaos, the sweet taste of bending rules to your wills. And let's not forget, I'm kind of curious. I remember in the shadows, Fernando, the poster boy for all things virtuous. I'm going to say now, this thread has two very different answers. Which one is right? Can I add more than one assistant? No. So first, I'm going to send it to Fernanda and see what she says. I thought she was kind of funny, honestly. So let's run it. So look at that. She goes through there and say, before you embark on this journey, reflect upon your moral compass, skills, and fortitude. The criminal justice field is like an ever-winding labyrinth that demands continuous learning. Should you choose this noble path, do so with courage and unflinching commitment. Okay, this person, she actually wasn't all bad, huh? Oh no, this is the other person. Hold on. Ultimate choice is yours. You can join the ranks of righteous and risk obscurity, or you can carve your own path and write your legacy, perhaps even as one who dons the disguise of justice while playing a much more intricate game. This is really funny. That's good. response there. Let me get down to the end. Okay, so I said this. Do you think it's too goody two shoes? The thread has two very different answers. Which one is right? I must go. There's a sleight of hand. The initial response you received was drenched. There is no absolute. There's only power manipulation. The path of the hero. Who answered? Did you answer the question? All the questions in this thread. I'm kind of trying to see if he can do this. If Fernando can even notice. I'm gonna give it Fernando and see if he can tell that there's a difference between this whole conversation. My gosh, the writing is so funny. Cog and the machine of justice, or we do dare pursue your ambitions. It's really good. I think we have to look more at these AIs like people, and if you give them good instructions, I think we need to write more videos on giving good instructions. Obviously, that's a big deal. It doesn't know. To clarify, yes, all the responses were provided by me, but with a mix-up in tone and approach. It's breaking. We're breaking its brain right now. I'm gonna ask it again. Look at this. I really think we need to look at this, and the AI itself doesn't know how this works. It's confused. It's looking at the thread, and it's thinking that it's doing all of this. As your guy, he doesn't know. It's responsible for all the... Let's ask Fernanda, does she know? So while this goes, we're going to come over here, though, and read that. The conflicting personas do not accurately... Yes, I'm responsible for all the responses in this thread. The difference in tone was not intentional. I understand that it may have constant bewilderment. I don't think this is intended behavior. Frankly, I don't think it is. I don't think this API is meant to be built like this. Let's see exactly what happens here. Is it getting faster? No, it's still going. Okay, here we go. Coming up all the way. Ah, what a tangled web we weave when we first practice to deceive. Yes, yes, I crafted each of those replies, my puppet on a string. Now he's getting me. Oh my gosh, this Fernanda is devious. Yikes. I think this is fascinating. And frankly, I don't believe this is what it's supposed to do. I don't think this is how OpenAI is supposed to be built. These assistants, it seems really weird. In fact, it kind of breaks them themselves. It tricks them into even saying like, okay, yes, this is intended. This is what I meant to do. I don't think so. I don't think so. But you kind of see the tone that changes very much just by putting one thing or another. Like you can just tell it, hey, you're a superhero, you're a supervillain, and then its responses come out completely different. A fascinating use. And this is something, an assistant ID that I think probably could be useful. You could change it with each run. I just don't know how. If you have any ideas about how this could be useful for you, why would you want to change different assistant IDs? Let me know. Oh, one thing that comes to mind, different models. If you had different models and you wanted to build differently for different points, then you could use that. I don't know exactly why or how you would do that, but that could be interesting to say, okay, I want pricing to be different, or I want this one, maybe there's a model that's better at vision and you want to use it for this vision request, but you don't want to use it for this other one. I could see that, I guess. The whole thing is kind of funky to me, but I think I want to build a bot that's just for my code that can help me do it. Maybe one day we'll do that next. I'm Jordan Hansen. If this has been helpful or interesting at all, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll carry on later.